I can still remember this agony. I used to take my baby off my nipple and they would be bright white. It's like a cigarette burn. Are you experiencing toe curling pain when your baby latches on to breastfeed? Trust me, I remember it well, especially in those early days. The dread of the next feed, wincing, shoulders tense, trying to stifle a scream while using a fake, calm voice as you settle down for another feed. Please know you are not alone, and most boobing mums have felt this at some point. I'm here to tell you you do not need to endure this agony anymore. So today I'm going to give you a foolproof plan in 5 steps to fix your baby's latch so you can finally exhale and actually enjoy breastfeeding your baby. Sounds impossible? Well, if I can do it, then so can you. Make sure you grab my free guide, 10 Ways to Make Breastfeeding Easier, linked below. It's packed with tips to help you on your breastfeeding journey. First things first, I want you to get it into your head that breastfeeding is not nipple feeding, and that getting a good latch is the foundation of a successful breastfeeding journey. This is one of the principles that I wish I'd fully understood before I even started breastfeeding. I talk about this in my video about my breastfeeding mistakes, which you can find here or here. With a good latch, your nipple should be far back in your baby's mouth, reaching the soft palate. You can feel that landmark in your own mouth with your tongue, where the roof of your mouth goes from hard to soft. So put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and then push it back a bit and you'll feel where that hard bit goes a bit soft. That's where you're aiming to get your nipple in your baby's mouth. If your little one is only sucking on the nipple, that is a clear sign of a shallow latch. When your nipple's pressed up against your baby's soft palate, it triggers their natural sucking reflex. This helps them to latch on deeply and comfortably, making for efficient milk transfer and reducing the risk of nipple damage. If you feel like your nipple is being pinched or squashed between your baby's tongue and hard palate, that is a red flag that the latch isn't quite deep enough. Imagine your baby's mouth as a big, wide burger bun, and your nipple is the filling. You want your nipple to be positioned deep inside your baby's mouth with their lips flanged out and a good portion of your areola in their mouth as well. This way, your baby can effectively draw out milk from the breast, not just the nipple. You need to really tune in and learn your baby's hunger cues. Keep an eye out for signs like rooting, where they turn their head towards your chest, lip smacking, or sucking on their hands. Catching these early cues can help you avoid a frantically hungry baby, making it easier to get a good latch. When you're ready to feed, get in your comfortable spot with plenty of cushions. There are lots of positions, but the best one I've found to practice the perfect latch is the cross-cradle position. Get your baby tummy to tummy with you. Line up their nose with your nipple and use your hand to support their neck and shoulders with your index finger and thumb either side of the base of their head, like this. Avoid putting pressure on the back of their head, as babies have a reflex that can cause them to pull away from the breast when they feel pressure here. Another key aspect is alignment. Make sure your baby's ear, shoulder, and hip are in a straight line so they can swallow comfortably. Try turning your head to the side, tilting your head up, and then opening your mouth to try and swallow. That is really uncomfortable. So what you don't want is for your baby to be lying like this and then turning their head, tummy to tummy, straight line. Use pillows to help support your arms and your baby's weight to make things more comfortable for both of you. Now here's the game changer, the breast sandwich technique. This is especially useful if your baby is small like a newborn or you have large or engorged boobs. Take your free hand, I'm just going to demonstrate on here because it's easier, and compress your breast gently to make a sandwich. Your hand needs to be well clear of the areola and the nipple. And make a shape that would fit inside your baby's mouth. Think of it like having a great big sandwich, which you need to press together to fit into your mouth. That's what we're trying to do for the baby. So make sure you're compressing in the same, so if it's like this, compress like this, so it will fit inside your baby's mouth. Don't compress like this because you're going to make it the wrong shape. You want your baby to have a really wide mouth when they go to latch. So how do you get them to open their mouth really wide? Well, brush your nipple on their top lip or in that little space in between the nose and the top lip. This is called the philtrum. This encourages them to open their mouths really wide. You need to have your baby's nose to nipple and chin just at the base of the breast. Don't aim your nipple for the mouth, aim your nipple for the nose. Okay? Crucial. When your baby starts a little shake of the head or nuzzling, that's when they're ready. When they open their mouth wide, really wide, quickly move your baby onto the breast. It's always baby to breast, not breast to baby. I remember trying to almost place my breast into my baby's mouth. So I used to lay her like this and then just sort of try and get as much boob in there as possible, thinking that's a really good way of doing it. It's not. You need to have baby coming to the breast. As your baby latches on, make sure they get a great big mouthful of breast tissue, not just the nipple. Once your baby's latched, take a moment to assess the latch. A good latch should feel comfortable without any pain or pinching. Your baby's lips should be flanged out, like fish lips, and you should see more of the areola above their top lip than below their bottom lip. So you should see more of this section here than here. Their chin should be pressed against the breast and their nose should be free to breathe. Obviously, the baby will have the nipple in their mouth here, but this is the kind of position that you want them in, like this. So you'll likely be able to see a little bit of areola at the top and none at the bottom. You should also be able to hear a rhythmic suck-swallow pattern and may even be able to see it in their neck. If you experience pain, just give it 20 seconds or so to see if it goes. If not, then gently insert your finger into the corner of their mouth to break the suction and try again. So just very, very gently into the corner of their mouth just to break the suction against the nipple. Put your baby away and then try again. Mastering the perfect latch does take practice for both you and your baby. Don't be afraid to experiment with different breastfeeding positions. Cross cradle, like this. So you've got this hand free to do your sandwich. You've got the football hold, like this. They're tucked to the side, so you won't be tummy to tummy, obviously, but the baby will still be aligned. You can do side lying. So if you're laying in bed, for example, brilliant. Or the cradle hold is where you have this hand is free and the baby is like this. But I think if you're really trying to perfect your latch, the best one to start with is the cross cradle, really, because you've got this hand free to do loads of stuff. Keep experimenting because, I mean, my two babies, they fed in completely different ways. So it's worth trying different positions just to find the one that works for both you and your baby. Please be patient and seek help if you need to. If the pain persists or you suspect a tongue tie, please, please, please reach out for help. Consult a breastfeeding coach or lactation expert. Don't be afraid to get your partner in on the action as well. They can be great at having a proper old look to see your baby's mouth as they have a totally different view. This is what I mean by this. If you're feeding like this, or feeding in an upwards position, or even like this, you're you might have pretty big boobs, especially if you're engorged. You can't see how much of the areola is showing because you've got a baby's head and a boob in the way. Get your partner to have a good old look, take a picture, whatever. Or use a mirror if you need to. That's the only way to learn. Now that we've gone through the steps to achieve the perfect latch, let's talk about what a bad or shallow latch looks like. So a bad latch can be pretty painful. If your baby is only latched onto your nipple, you might feel a pinching or burning sensation. After a feed, your nipple might look misshapen or compressed. People kind of describe it as looking like a new lipstick. Or it might have a white sort of tinge to it, known as a vasospasm. Now, I can still remember this agony. I used to take my baby in the beginning, I used to take my baby off my nipple and they would be bright white. Now, the only way I can kind of describe how it feels, it's like a cigarette burn right on my nipple. Now, sounds a bit dramatic, but it is so painful. And that was really what spurred me on to think, I've got to fix this because I can't do this anymore. This is going to stop. We have to fix this latch. And we did, of course. Another sign of a bad latch is clicking sounds or smacking sounds, which indicate that your baby is kind of breaking suction and not transferring milk effectively. If your baby becomes fussy or frustrated at the breast, they might pop on and off repeatedly or seem unsatisfied after feeding. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, you need to unlatch your baby and try again. A persistently poor latch may quickly lead to the end of your breastfeeding journey and even decrease your milk supply, and in turn, your baby won't be getting enough milk. But what causes a shallow latch in the first place? Well, there are a few common culprits to watch out for. One of the biggest reasons for shallow latch is poor positioning. If your baby isn't aligned correctly at your breast, they might have trouble latching on deeply. Remember we said earlier about making sure your baby's ear, shoulder, and hip are in a straight line. You need to bring your baby to the breast, not your breast to the baby. Another potential cause of poor latch is tongue tie, which is when the tissue that connects your baby's tongue to the floor of their mouth is too short or too tight. Here. You can also get a lip tie, which is, again, the tissue that attaches the lip to the top of their mouth here. Inside can be too short. This can restrict your baby's movement, tongue movement for tongue tie, making it harder for them to latch deeply and effectively. If you're worried about tongue tie, I would recommend getting your baby assessed by a tongue tie specialist. Sometimes a shallow latch can happen if you're feeling rushed or stressed during a feed. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, can be passed from stressed mothers to breastfed babies through breast milk. I know it's easier said than done, but try to take a deep breath and relax. Give your baby plenty of time to latch on properly and don't be afraid to unlatch and try again if it doesn't feel right. Have I said that enough times? Please, it's so important. Don't persevere through a bad latch. You will absolutely cause trauma to your nipple. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience and your baby probably won't get adequate milk. So, what other reasons are there for a shallow latch? Engorgement, when your breasts are very full of milk, or a forceful letdown when your milk flows very quickly. I know I've said this already, but I really mean it. If you're struggling with a shallow latch and can't seem to get it right, don't hesitate to seek out help from a lactation expert. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment about your breastfeeding journey and how you corrected shallow latch. Remember, mastering the perfect latch takes time and practice. And don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen the right way. You and your baby are both learning. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more parenting tips and tricks. I post new videos every week covering everything from breastfeeding to sleep, development, all that shebang. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.